See, if I know you fighting each other, that's a good time for an enemy to attack you. Come on, sit down, sit down. When parents take all the time fussing and fighting, children are falling through the crack while y'all arguing over $100. Giving space to the enemy to come in and rob your children. Take from the little ones, take from the babes that can't defend themselves. But mom and daddy spend all their time fighting to where we can't go to them with our problems. I would love to go talk to mama, but every time I see mama crying about something daddy done said. I want to ask mama to pray for me, but according to daddy, mama is a no good such and such. And I would love to confide in daddy, but mama told me one time, she said, if he is your daddy. And so I'm wondering, and in so many houses, folks are proclaiming that they're going to do great things. But listen to me. You can only do great things when you're on one accord. You can only do great things when you're on the same page. But when you spend all your time fighting each other, you are hindering blessings. And can I be honest? In a dysfunctional house, people become quite good at fighting. Tell your neighbor, I don't want to be a part of no weak house, no weak church. Tell your neighbor, I don't want to be a part of no church where the devil just come up in there when he feel like it and start destroying stuff. Tell your neighbor, I don't want to be a part of no church like that. Tell him, no. Tell him, say, no. If it be true, just say, no. Say, I don't want to be a part of no church like that. Be a member over there? No. Join up with that? They powerless. And see, the enemy want to keep folks dysfunctional so that they don't get what God has for them. Watch this. He want to keep them weak so that they don't ever see the word work for them. And so he wars against that church. He wars against that family. He wars against that marriage. And they're powerless to defeat the enemy because, listen, they ain't on the same page. One thinking one thing and doing their own thing, while somebody else is thinking another way and doing what they want to do. And so instead of two walking together in agreement, you have a pulling that's taking place. And when a pulling is taking place, there is pain involved. People are being ripped apart. Lives are being torn apart. But most of all, babies, people that came to connect with something productive is being destroyed because grown folk are not acting right. Mature folk that know better are not doing better. That's dysfunctional. You too old for that. You've been at this church too long to be acting like that. See, but in a dysfunctional house, mature folk act like children. If you ain't afraid, look at somebody and tell them, say, it's time for you to grow up. Tell somebody else, it's time for you to grow up. Y'all don't look like y'all too happy with me this morning. You've been saved too long to be doing that. You've been saved too long to be talking the way you talking and knowing that babes are listening to you. You're a minister. How you talking like that? And if you talking like that as a minister, but then you going to get up here and pray because you ain't talking right, because you ain't thinking right, because you ain't doing right, that same messed up spirit that's on you, that's wrecking your life, when you get up here to pray, instead of the Spirit of God hitting the church, that dysfunctional spirit that has attached itself to you begins to go out throughout the congregation. See, if my house ain't right, I can't get the church house right. If the deacons ain't got their house right, how they gonna help keep this house right? So you know what's gonna happen today? A lot of us, we about to grow up today. A lot of folk about to get their act together. They about to start doing what's right. They about to start acting according to the rules, according to the guideline. I'm gonna be faithful. Yeah, pastor. Woo, you got to exert yourself to be on the same page. Come on. Lastly, it suggests you diligent. If you're going to endeavor to keep the unity, look, you got to be diligent at this. I believe unity is something you work on every day. I believe it's something you don't just wait till things go wrong then say, oh, we need to work. No, you're working every day to keep this. I'm being diligent. I'm being diligent. Now notice Proverbs 12. Because in my close, I'm going to talk about the opposite of a dysfunctional house and then be done. Notice Proverbs 12. I'm going to talk about the opposite of a dysfunctional house. And I should have some happy folk up in here. I should have some happy folk up in here. Notice, remember, a divided house is a dysfunctional house. Remember what Jesus said in Mark 12:25? A dysfunctional house is not going to stand. In other words, a dysfunctional house is going to be overthrown. It's going to come to desolation. It's going to come to ruin. It's going to be unproductive. It's going to be unfruitful. It's going to be barren. But notice in Proverbs 12:7, he said, the wicked are overthrown and are no more. But the house of the righteous will stand. Tell your neighbor, a dysfunctional house is a wicked house. And tell your neighbor, that wicked house is going to be overthrown. Tell your neighbor, it's going to fall. But tell them on the other hand, a united house is a righteous house. Tell your neighbor, a righteous house is going to stand. What's a righteous house? It's a house where everyone up in there, listen to this, is striving to please God. It's a house where everybody in there is striving to think like God wants them to think, to talk like God wants them to talk, and they're striving to act like God would have them to act. See, that's a righteous house. Again, not a perfect house, but a righteous house. We are on one accord. Listen, don't miss this. When it comes to us striving to please God. See, in a home, if everyone in there striving to please God, yeah, we may bump sometime. But because we striving to please God, we're going to get that thing right. Because we striving to please God, guess what? We're going to love each other the way this word said we need to love each other. Why? We righteous. We are striving to please God up in here. And notice, instead of you being overthrown, a righteous house is going to be victorious. The last house y'all got, you had good credit. But it wasn't the house you want. But you know what? I've been looking at how y'all been coming together. And because y'all been coming together, I'm going to give you your heart desire with a house. It ain't going to be because of your credit. I'm going to give you favor with somebody. Matter of fact, the program that you're going to get your house with don't even exist right now. You ain't even heard about, but I'm about to create a program that's going to allow you to get the house you want just because I see how y'all working together up in there. You know what, Refuge? Y'all gonna build everything I told y'all were gonna build, and I'm gonna send some sinners by there to help y'all do it. I just like how y'all coming together. Is that all right? Is that all right? I'm done. Give him a praise up in here.